Today, we dive into the enchanting yet haunting tale of Adaeze, a beautiful young lady whose radiant beauty was both a blessing and a curse. Adaeze was adored by all for her beauty. But behind her captivating smile lay a dark secret. To maintain her beauty, Adaeze was forced into a life of sleeping with different men, draining their vitality. How did this once innocent young lady become ensnared in such a monstrous fate? Join us as we unravel the mystery of Adaeze's curse, the betrayal of a trusted friend, and the dire consequences that followed. This is a story of beauty, envy, love, and redemption that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Stay tuned and discover the full story of Adaeze's tragic transformation and the ultimate triumph of true love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating tales. In the vibrant village of Umuche, a picturesque settlement nestled between rolling hills and dense forest, life thrived in harmony with nature. The village's red earth pathways wound through clusters of thatched roof huts, each home a testament to the craftsmanship of its inhabitants. Tall palm trees swayed gently in the breeze, their leaves whispering secrets of the past to anyone who would listen. The air was filled with the fragrant scent of blooming flowers and freshly cooked meals, a blend of aromas that made Umuche unique. Umuche was a place where tradition and culture flourished. The marketplace was the heart of the village, a bustling hub where women gathered to sell their wares, chattering animatedly as they exchanged news and gossip. Colorful fabrics, handcrafted jewelry, and an array of fruits and vegetables were displayed in vibrant splendor, each stall a burst of color and life. The sound of children's laughter filled the air as they played games under the large iroko tree, their carefree spirits embodying the village's essence. In the evenings, the rhythmic beats of drums echoed through Umuche, calling villagers to gather for communal storytelling and dance. Elders, seated in a circle around a crackling fire, shared tales of heroism, love, and caution, their voices carrying the wisdom of generations. The younger ones listened intently, their eyes wide with wonder, as they learned the values and traditions that bound them together. It was in this rich tapestry of culture and tradition that Adaeze lived, a young woman of unparalleled beauty. Her presence was enough to turn heads and stir whispers among the village men. Her smooth, dark skin glowed under the African sun, and her bright eyes sparkled like the clear waters of the village stream. Adaeze moved with a graceful demeanor, her steps light and elegant, as if she floated rather than walked. Her hair, thick and coiled, was often adorned with colorful beads that clicked softly with her movements. She was the kind of woman whose very presence could silence a room. Any day Adaeze walked through the bustling marketplace, the women selling their wares would pause to glance at her, envying her flawless skin and radiant smile, while the men, working in the fields or carving wood into beautiful sculptures, would steal glances, captivated by her beauty. She was nicknamed a goddess as the village men and women alike marveled at her beauty yet were curious of the mysterious aura that surrounded her. She was a regular sight at the village's communal gatherings, where her laughter and grace seemed to light up the evening. But behind this enchanting facade lay a dark secret, one that bound her to a fate she never chose. In her heart, Adaeze longed for freedom. She wished for a life where she could love and be loved without the dark shadow that hung over her. Her beauty, once a source of pride and joy, had become a prison, trapping her in a cycle of seduction and sorrow. The vibrant village of Umuche, with its rich traditions and close-knit community, was now a place of silent suffering for the woman known for her unparalleled beauty. Years back, Adaeze had experienced the love of her beloved village and the joy of her beauty. She was celebrated, her presence a beacon of grace and charm in Umuche. This was a status that stirred envy in the heart of Nkem, a woman scorned by fate and circumstance. Adaeze and Nkem shared a bond that began in childhood. They were inseparable, their friendship blossoming under the warm African sun. Adaeze, however, stood out with her unparalleled beauty. Her skin was a rich mahogany that glowed with a natural radiance, her deep and soulful eyes held a kindness that endeared her to all, and her thick black hair, adorned with colorful beads, cascaded in loose curls around her shoulders. This beauty and grace made her the darling of the village, loved by everyone. Tragedy struck Adaeze early in life when she lost her parents. Her uncle, who had no children of his own, took her in and became her adoptive father. His wife, however, harbored deep-seated jealousy and resentment toward Adaeze. The beauty and affection Adaeze received from the villagers only fueled her adoptive mother's bitterness. Despite the maltreatment she endured, Adaeze remained bright and optimistic, her spirit unbroken. Nkem, on the other hand, while beautiful in her own right, harbored a deep-seated envy towards Adaeze. Her lighter brown skin and sharp features contrasted with Adaeze's soft beauty. Nkem's intricate braids and meticulously placed adornments could not mask the bitterness in her heart. Her eyes often filled with hidden malice, she watched Adaeze's every move with a mixture of admiration and jealousy. The village of Umuche, rich in tradition and culture, held an annual beauty contest to celebrate the grace and elegance of its women. This contest was a significant event, drawing participants and spectators from neighboring villages. The stage was set, vibrant with decorations reflecting the rich culture of the Igbo people. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement as the villagers gathered to witness the display of beauty and tradition. Adaeze, with her natural charm and kindness, was the favorite. She walked the stage with grace, her vibrant attire reflecting her inner beauty. Her costume, made from the finest fabric and embroidered with intricate patterns, showcased the best of traditional African craftsmanship. Beaded necklaces adorned her neck, and bracelets clinked softly on her wrist as she moved. The villagers cheered and applauded as she was crowned the queen of the contest, a title she wore with humility and grace. Nkem, standing in the shadows, felt her heart harden with envy. The applause that filled the air felt like a sharp knife to her pride. Consumed by jealousy, Nkem sought out a mystical healer known for her dark arts. The healer, whose name was Ojidai, a master of mystical abilities and dark knowledge, lived in the forest, surrounded by ancient trees whose branches seemed to whisper forgotten secrets. The air was thick with the scent of herbs and the faint, haunting sound of traditional drums in the distance. Inside the dimly lit hut, Ojidai the healer sat cross-legged on a mat, her eyes piercing and wise. Shelves lined with jars of mysterious powders and dried herbs covered the walls. Her voice, a raspy whisper filled with ancient knowledge, welcomed Nkem. With a trembling voice, Nkem expressed her desire to curse Adaeze. Ojidai's eyes gleamed with a knowing look. "Do you have anything that belongs to this person?" she asked. Nkem nodded and produced a comb she had taken from Adaeze during the contest. Ojidai took the comb, examining it with a scrutinizing eye. She nodded slowly and began to chant, her voice rising and falling like the rhythm of the drums outside. The ritual was long and intricate, each step filled with dark energy. Ojidai's chants filled the air, mingling with the smoke that curled up from the fire pit. Nkem watched with bated breath as the Ojidai completed the final steps, sealing the curse with a drop of blood and a whispered incantation. Ojidai's words were slow and deliberate, revealing that Adaeze would wither like a flower in the dry season, her beauty fading unless she sought the vitality of others. As the days passed, Adaeze noticed subtle changes. Her once vibrant skin started to lose its luster, and her hair began to turn white. Fine lines appeared around her eyes, and her radiant smile became strained. Desperate and confused, she turned to Nkem, her closest friend, seeking comfort. Nkem, ever the actress, feigned concern and suggested they seek help together. Nkem, pretending to be a concerned friend, responded with a comforting smile. Adaeze, my dear, she said, I have heard of this strange sickness before. It is temporary, and there is a cure. Do not worry, we will find a solution together. Adaeze, feeling the weight of her transformation into an old woman with white hair, clung to Nkem's words as her only hope. Together, they journeyed through the dense forest, their path lit by the flickering glow of fireflies, to seek help from the same Ojidai the healer who had once aided Nkem in her malicious scheme. Ojidai's hut was filled with the same eerie atmosphere, the air thick with the scent of herbs and the sound of distant drums. Ojidai, her eyes gleaming with hidden knowledge, welcomed them. Welcome, my children, she said, her voice a deep rumble. What brings you to my humble abode? Nkem spoke for Adaeze, her voice laced with false concern. My friend is afflicted with a strange illness that is aging her prematurely. We seek your wisdom and aid. Ojidai nodded slowly, her eyes narrowing as he looked at Adaeze. She knew exactly what had transpired but played along. There is a way to counter this affliction, she said, reaching into a worn leather pouch. He pulled out a necklace adorned with dark, glistening stones. This necklace will help, but it must be worn at all times, and a specific ritual must be followed. Adaeze, desperate for relief, accepted the necklace. What must I do? She asked, her voice trembling. Ojidai glanced at Nkem before responding. The ritual requires you to sleep with men to maintain your beauty. Their vitality will be transferred to you, keeping you young and beautiful. Adaeze's eyes widened in shock and disbelief. I cannot do such a thing, she whispered. As they stood in Ojidai's hut, the flickering light of the candles casting eerie shadows on the walls, Adaeze turned to Nkem with a plea in her eyes. Maybe I should tell my adoptive parents, she said, her voice trembling. Perhaps they can find another solution. Nkem's expression hardened, and she placed a firm hand on Adaeze's shoulder. Your adoptive mother treats you badly, Adaeze. She does not care for you as she should. If you reveal this, they will not seek a solution but instead will expose you. You will be cast out from the village as a witch, or worse, burned. You must trust me, this is the only way. Nkem's words cut deep, filling Adaeze with fear and doubt. She felt trapped, unable to seek help elsewhere. Reluctantly, she agreed, unaware of the dark truth behind Ojidai's words. The necklace, heavy around her neck, seemed to pulse with a sinister energy. She felt trapped and tormented, her life spiraling into a haunting routine. Each night, Adaeze would find herself drawn to different men in the village, their vitality draining away as she maintained her youthful appearance. The men, oblivious to the curse, experienced a rapid decline in their health and strength, their lives slowly withering away. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky was painted in hues of orange and pink, Adaeze sat alone in her hut, feeling the weight of the necklace around her neck. She heard a familiar knock at the door and sighed. It was Chuka, a young man who had been asking her out for months. Chuka was handsome, with a broad smile and kind eyes that spoke of his genuine affection for Adaeze. Chuka entered the hut, his face lighting up as he saw her. Adaeze, he began, I couldn't stay away any longer. I needed to see you. Adaeze forced a smile, her heart heavy with the knowledge of what she was about to do. Chuka, you shouldn't have come, she said softly, but he ignored her protest, stepping closer and taking her hand. Adaeze, I love you, he said earnestly. I want to be with you. Tears welled up in Adaeze's eyes as she led him to the mat. The ritual had to be followed, and she was powerless to resist its pull. As they lay together, she felt the familiar sensation of vitality flowing into her, her beauty restored at the cost of Chuka's strength. He left her hut in the early hours of the morning, his steps unsteady, his face pale. Adaeze watched him go, a deep sorrow gnawing at her soul. The curse had claimed another victim, and she felt more trapped than ever. On another night, as the village celebrated a successful harvest with drums and danced around the central fire, Adaeze wandered the outskirts, avoiding the festive crowd. Her heart ached with loneliness and the burden of her curse. She spotted a man staggering towards her, his movements erratic and unsteady. His name was Emeka, a stranger to the village, drawn by the promise of palm wine and celebration. Emeka stumbled upon Adaeze and grinned, his breath reeking of alcohol. Well, what do we have here? He slid, his eyes raking over her. Adaeze's heart sank. She knew what she had to do, though the thought repulsed her. Come with me, she said quietly, leading him away from the revelry. They found a secluded spot near the edge of the forest, the sounds of the village celebration faint in the background. Emeka, oblivious to the darkness of the situation, eagerly followed her. As they lay together, Adaeze felt the curse working once more, draining the stranger of his vitality. Emeka's drunken stupor deepened into unconsciousness, and by morning, he was a shadow of the man he had been, weak and disoriented. Adaeze watched him stumble away, tears streaming down her face. The weight of the necklace around her neck felt heavier than ever, a constant reminder of her cursed fate. Each encounter left her more desolate, her beauty preserved at an unbearable cost. Adaeze's beauty, though preserved, became a constant reminder of her cursed existence. She longed for freedom, for a way out of the nightmare that had become her life. Yet, each day, the weight of the necklace around her neck and the haunting memories of the men she had drained kept her bound to the dark path she had been forced to walk. In the shadows, Nkem watched with satisfaction, her envy masked by a veneer of friendship. She relished in Adaeze's torment, believing that her rival would never find the strength to break free. As Adaeze continued to follow Ojide's instructions, men who claimed to have been with Adaeze would soon fall ill, their strength waning inexplicably. Whispers turned into rumors, and soon the entire village of Umuche buzzed with speculation. But none dared to confront her directly because of her adoptive father, Obi. He had just gained the title of a well-respected chief in the village and was held in high esteem by the king. Despite the growing fear and suspicion, men still came to Adaeze, driven by an irresistible compulsion. These encounters, arranged by Nkem, were cloaked in secrecy. Nkem, under the guise of a caring friend, ensured that Adaeze's suffering continued unabated. She whispered to the men in the shadows, promising them beauty and allure, and they, blinded by desire, followed her lead. In the evenings, when the sun dipped low and cast long shadows across the village, the men would approach Adaeze's hut, their faces hidden beneath the hoods of their cloaks. Adaeze, her heart heavy with shame and sorrow, would let them in, knowing that each encounter only deepened the curse's grip on her soul. The cycle of deceit and despair seemed unbreakable, with Nkem orchestrating every move, her jealousy and malice hidden behind a mask of friendship. The village, caught in a web of fear, desire, and suspicion, watched silently, waiting for the day when the truth would finally come to light. During the busy market day of Umuche village, Chinedu arrived in the bustling village with the aura of a traveler and the charm of a prince. Tall and robust, with a deep mahogany complexion and eyes that sparkled with kindness, he wandered through the lively market, taking in the vibrant sights and sounds. It was his first day in Umuche village. Stalls overflowed with colorful fabrics, fresh produce, and handcrafted wares. The air was filled with the melodic chatter of traders and customers. As he strode through the market, he noticed a group of women gathered around a stall, their attention focused on a single figure. There, standing in the center, was Adaeze. Her deep brown skin glowed under the African sun, and her eyes, though shadowed with sadness, held a mysterious allure. She was helping an elderly woman choose some beads, her movements graceful and kind. Chinedu's heart skipped a beat. It was love at first sight. Chinedu was captivated by Adaeze's beauty and grace. He approached her, introducing himself with a warm smile, and said, "They say the full moon over the Yumos river is the brightest, but I can bet my life that it trembles before the brightness of your beauty." Adaeze, surprised and amused by the compliment, smiled back, her eyes twinkling with interest. Their first meeting was brief, but it left a lasting impression on both of them. As days turned into weeks, Chinedu and Adaeze found themselves drawn to each other. Whenever they were together, Adaeze felt a sense of peace and normalcy she hadn't experienced in years. She would remove the cursed necklace, and in those moments, she was just Adaeze, a woman in love. They spent their days walking through the vibrant markets, attending village festivals, and participating in traditional dances. The rhythm of the drums, the vibrant colors of their attire, and the communal celebrations of their culture brought them closer. Their love blossomed like the hibiscus flowers in Adaeze's garden, much to Nkem's growing jealousy. Unable to tolerate Adaeze's happiness, Nkem concocted a plan to ruin her once again. She began to spread malicious rumors, whispering lies into the ears of the villagers at the palm wine joints, turning their suspicions into hostility. She painted a picture of Adaeze as a witch, using dark magic to lure Chinedu. Meanwhile, the rumors about Adaeze's supposed witchcraft and her insatiable desires spread like wildfire through every palm wine joint in the village. One evening, Chinedu overheard these rumors and decided he needed to know the truth. His heart ached with doubt and confusion, and he resolved to meet Adaeze. As Chinedu made his way to Adaeze's house, Nkem spotted him from afar. Sensing an opportunity to sabotage Adaeze, she hurried to Adaeze's side and brought up her sickness and the need to sleep with men to maintain her beauty. She spoke loudly, ensuring that Chinedu, who was approaching, would overhear their conversation. Chinedu froze, his heart pounding with betrayal and fury. Without confronting Adaeze, he turned and left silently, his mind swirling with anger and disappointment. Adaeze, engrossed in her conversation with Nkem, did not notice Chinedu's arrival or departure. The following day, Adaeze sought to see Chinedu, but he shunned her and told her he was busy. This went on for days, weighing a heavy heart on Adaeze. At this period, she had put a pause to the ritual and thoughts running through her mind why Chinedu was ignoring her. Adaeze found her way to the river bank where Chinedu hangs during the weekend, but as she approached, Chinedu bluntly said, "Stay away from me, Adaeze. I don't want anything to do with you." His words cut through her like a knife, leaving her stunned and heartbroken. She was left in tears and met with Nkem to lean on her shoulder for comfort. Nkem feigned sympathy, hiding her satisfaction at the pain she had caused. Determined to drive a further wedge between them, Nkem attempted to seduce Chinedu, thinking that it would solidify his mistrust in Adaeze. She approached him, dressed in her most alluring attire, but Chinedu, though hurt and confused, rejected her advances with disgust. His love for Adaeze was too strong to be swayed by Nkem's deceit. Perplexed by Nkem's malicious actions and suspicious of her motives, Chinedu's curiosity was piqued. How could Adaeze trust Nkem, and what was the true nature of her ailment? Determined to uncover the truth, Chinedu traveled back to his village, a place known for its deep connection to the ancient ways, hoping to find answers that would explain the dark mystery surrounding Adaeze. He sought out the village's oldest and most revered elder, Papa Obinna, a man whose knowledge of the gods and the spirit world was unmatched. Arriving at Papa Obinna's hut, Chinedu bowed respectfully, offering kola nuts and palm wine as tradition demanded. The elder accepted the gifts with a nod, his wise eyes studying Chinedu's troubled face. "What brings you here, my son? I thought you had traveled for trading business in a neighboring village." Papa Obinna asked, his voice a low rumble, like distant thunder. Chinedu explained his situation and Adaeze's plight, detailing the mysterious curse that he overheard that evening. Papa Obinna listened intently, his expression grave. After a long silence, he spoke. "This is a powerful curse, placed by a heart filled with envy and malice. Such dark magic can only be countered by the purest of forces, true love. Adaeze must be with her true love, and only then can the curse be broken," the elder explained. Armed with this knowledge, Chinedu returned to Umuche with a renewed determination to save Adaeze. He knew she deeply loved him and had noticed that she always removed the necklace when she was near him. He approached her one night when she was alone, finding her looking more worn and weary, her hair beginning to show signs of the curse's reversal as she had stopped using the necklace and sleeping with men. "Adaeze," he began softly, taking her hands in his, "I'm so sorry I chased you away. You and I, we are meant to be together." Adaeze's eyes filled with tears, her heart a whirlwind of emotions. She tried to pull away, ashamed of her plight. "Chinedu, you don't understand. I have an ailment. It has made me a monster. I can't put you through that." But Chinedu held her firmly, his love unwavering. "Adaeze, I love you. I believe in us." Moved by his words and his faith in their love, Adaeze nodded, allowing herself to hope once more. They embraced, but when Chinedu made a move to be with her, Adaeze hesitated, trying to explain her situation. "Chinedu, I don't want to hurt you. It's more like a curse." Chinedu silenced her with a gentle kiss. "I know, Adaeze. I know everything. And I still choose you." Overwhelmed by his love and determination, Adaeze finally relented. That night, under the watchful eyes of the stars and the blessing of the ancestors, they came together, their love pure and strong. As the first light of dawn painted the skies of Umuche with hues of orange and gold, Nkem stormed into Adaeze's house, her face twisted with fury. The sound of her entrance startled Adaeze and Chinedu, who were just beginning to rise. Nkem's eyes blazed as she took in the sight of them together, a picture of contentment that fueled her rage. "So this is how you repay my friendship, Adaeze?" Nkem spat, her voice dripping with venom. "Sleeping with men to keep your beauty, and now you think you can find happiness with Chinedu. You're nothing but a cursed woman." The room fell silent as Nkem's words hung in the air. Adaeze's heart pounded in her chest as she realized the depth of Nkem's betrayal. "What are you talking about, Nkem?" Adaeze demanded, her voice shaking with a mix of confusion and anger. Nkem laughed bitterly. "You fool! I was the one who cursed you. I turned you into an old hag and then pretended to help you. It was all me." Adaeze's eyes widened in shock, and at that moment, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. She had been manipulated, her life turned upside down by the very person she had trusted the most. A primal scream of rage erupted from Adaeze as she lunged at Nkem, her movements swift and fierce like a lioness pouncing on her prey. The two women tumbled to the ground, a flurry of limbs and cries. Adaeze's hands struck out, fueled by years of pent-up frustration and betrayal. The villagers, drawn by the commotion, gathered outside, their whispers filling the air like the rustle of leaves. Chinedu watched, his face a mask of calm. He knew Adaeze needed this moment, a cathartic release of all the pain and suffering she had endured. He only intervened when Nkem's cries turned to whimpers, pulling Adaeze away gently but firmly. "Enough," Chinedu said softly, his voice steady. "She will pay for her sins." Nkem scrambled to her feet, her face bruised and her pride shattered. She stumbled out of the house and ran to Ojidai, her last hope of reversing her own fate. But Ojidai, her face stern and unyielding, shook her head. "The curse has been lifted and now reversed onto you, Nkem," she said gravely. "What you wished upon Adaeze is now your burden to bear. There is no cure for your malice." Nkem was confused and Ojidai explained that the curse had a solution, which was that she must never be with her true lover. Nkem's scream echoed through the village as she realized the full extent of her fate. Desperate and hopeless, she begged for a cure, but Ojidai was firm. Nkem, reeling from the harsh reality of Ojidai's words, stumbled out of the healer's hut in a daze. The weight of her fate pressed heavily on her shoulders, her mind spinning with despair. The villagers, once indifferent to her presence, now watched her with a mix of pity and contempt, their whispers a constant reminder of her fall from grace. Meanwhile, with the curse lifted, Adaeze and Chinedu sought to get married, receiving blessings from Adaeze's adoptive parents. The once harsh and skeptical mother, softened by the love Adaeze found, embraced her warmly. In a joyous turn of events, Adaeze's adoptive mother discovered she was pregnant just as Chinedu came to ask for Adaeze's hand in marriage. The celebration of this long-awaited pregnancy filled the household with joy and made them welcome Chinedu without many thoughts. Their wedding was a grand celebration, rich with the vibrant colors, music, and traditions of Umuche. The air was filled with the rhythm of drums, the melodious tunes of traditional songs, and the laughter and joy of the villagers. Adaeze adorned herself in stunning traditional attire, her beauty now a reflection of her inner strength and freedom. Chinedu, dressed in regal traditional garments, stood proudly by her side. Elders poured libations, offering prayers and blessings for their union, while the women danced gracefully, their movements telling stories of love and resilience. The rumors surrounding Adaeze died down, as their wedding became the talk of the village. Villagers, witnessing the couple's genuine love and the blessings of the elders, doubted the malicious gossip that had once circulated. The ceremony was not just a union of two souls, but a powerful testament to the triumph of love and truth over envy and deceit. After the celebrations, Adaeze and Chinedu settled in Chinedu's village. Here, Adaeze found peace and acceptance, forgetting her past and being embraced by a community that welcomed her with open arms. Meanwhile, back in Umuche, life continued, enriched by the lessons learned and the bonds strengthened. The story of Adaeze and Chinedu became a cherished tale, retold around evening fires, a reminder of the strength of inner beauty and the power of true love. On the other hand, Nkem, desperate to cling to her fading beauty, resorted to becoming a full-time harlot. She wandered the streets of Umuche, offering herself to any man willing to pay. Her once vibrant complexion dulled, and her intricate braids became disheveled and unkempt. Each encounter left her feeling more hollow and degraded, but she continued, driven by a desperate need to maintain the last remnants of her allure. As the days turned into weeks, Nkem's condition worsened. Her beauty, once her most prized possession, slipped away like sand through her fingers. The villagers, who had once been captivated by her striking features, now regarded her with scorn and derision. She became a laughingstock in the village, her name synonymous with shame and regret. The marketplace, once a place where Nkem held court with her beauty, now echoed with cruel laughter and mocking whispers as she passed by. Children pointed and giggled, while adults shook their heads in disdain. The same stalls where she once admired herself now reflected a gaunt, weary woman whose eyes had lost their spark. Nkem's health began to deteriorate rapidly. The men who sought her company dwindled, repelled by the sight of her deteriorating appearance. Her once radiant skin grew ashen, and her eyes, once filled with hidden malice, now reflected only sorrow and desperation. Each night, she returned to her small, dilapidated hut, her spirit broken and her heart heavy with regret. One day, as she wandered through the village square, Nkem overheard a group of women discussing Adaeze and Chinedu. They spoke of their love, resilience, and powerful bond. Nkem's heart ached with envy and regret, but for the first time, she also felt a glimmer of understanding. She realized that true beauty came from within, and the love and kindness that Adaeze exuded were what truly made her radiant. Nkem's envy had blinded her to this simple truth, and now, it was too late for her. She was left to live with the consequences of her actions, her beauty gone, her reputation shattered, and her heart burdened with remorse. And so, in the heart of Umuche and Chinedu's village, life continued, woven with the rich tapestry of culture, tradition, and the enduring spirit of the people. Adaeze and Chinedu lived happily ever after, their love story a beacon of hope and resilience, while Nkem's fate served as a stark reminder of the importance of kindness and integrity. The story of Adaeze and Chinedu reminds us of the enduring power of love and resilience. From the depths of envy and darkness, true beauty and strength shine through. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more enchanting tales. Until next time, keep the spirit of our stories alive.